Hi, this is Summer with Summer's Tips and Stitches, and in this video I thought I would talk about some of my thoughts on knitting versus crocheting a hat. I guess I kind of got started thinking about this because my very first year teaching second grade, well, not my very first year, my first year after being a stay-at-home mom for 10 years. I taught for 3 years prior to that. Anyway, I started a little tradition of making my students a hat. My first year back after, like I said, being a stay-at-home mom, I had 14 or 15, I did have one leave halfway through the year, second graders. And that year I only crocheted hats. I don't have the pattern laying out here that I did, but basically I'd crochet a rectangle and then I'd sew up the side and I'd cinch the top and then I put a pom-pom on the top. But once I started learning how to knit, I started knitting more hats than I crocheted. So the first 2 years I only crocheted them. Last year was the first year, and then this year as well, that I started knitting. So it would be this year's third graders, because the kids I've had in the last few years are all the way up to 5th grade now. But anyway, so the first 2 years was only crocheting. The third year was half crocheting, half knitting. And then this year was, I want to say 95% knitting. But I got a little, so what I noticed when I started knitting hats is that I actually liked how the yarn, the color laid out better, which is why I kind of switched to knitting. So I just thought I would do a little comparison to show you guys. Now, when I knit, I do a basic, simple knit. I do a border of knit 2, purl 2, knit 2, purl 2 all around for like 2.5 inches. And then I stop and then I only knit, and I use circular, and I just knit, knit, knit all the way around until the hat measures 6 inches. And then I'd start my decrease, which I've said time and time again, if you watch my channel, it's the Ross hat. Now I've modified the inches that I do based on a second grader's head, because Ross is a man and he has, I think it's 8 inches that until he does a decrease. But anyway, what I wanted to show you is, like, for example, this is some yarn. I got this in a swap. I love it. I love this yarn. I love this yarn in the colorway Flapper Girl. And it's just so cute. I love the colors. In fact, I love pretty much all of it but the yellow. The pink, the blue, the kind of like purplish look, the kind of, I want to say tie-dye-y, like the inconsistency in the color. I really like that. I'm going to have to get up for a moment, I think, and shut this door. Maybe not. We'll just see how bad it gets. So I found that when I crochet a hat, and I crocheted one, it looks like this. Now this actually isn't too bad, but this is the hat I crocheted, and it's just a basic beanie. And then I started trying to do a little bit of a ribbing pattern right here. This is obviously a little small because this will go into a second grader's head, right? And this is just a half double crochet. You start with your ring, you start your decrease, and then for the ribbing, I did a front post half double crochet in the stitch, front post half double crochet. And I did 3 rounds. Now, this, I just wanted you to see what it looks like, how the color lays out in this hat, right? You're gonna have these situations like right here where the color rows don't line up. It's not terrible, but you'll see there is striping to this, but it's not all over. Okay, so this is crocheted, half double crochet. I don't like doing hats with double crochet because I think the stitches are bigger. Now, I was trying to do the simplest thing because, like I said, when I knit, I also do a very simple pattern. This is what the yarn looks like knitted. Now, do you see how it has a very consistent pattern? Here's the ugliest yellow and orange, and then it goes blue, pink, and a little white. the yellow and the orange, blue, pink, blue, and here's the white. It has a very a pattern in it. Now, some people would say it's color pooling, but this is how the yarn knits up naturally. I did no color changing, no color controlling, and it's pretty consistent all the way around. The only time does it start to change is when I start to do the decreases, obviously, because then the rows get shorter because you're decreasing. So the blue gets a little thicker, whereas here you can do about 2 rows before it turns to pink. And then here you got about 3 to 4 rows. So I just wanted you to see the difference. Now, this is nice, you know, but you can see how there's no real pattern to the way the yarn falls. It's not consistent in its striping, and it's not consistent in the pattern. And this has led me to think that all variegated yarn is designed for knitting. I'm gonna show you 2 more hats. Now, I did not make these hats into crocheted versions, but here is another I love this yarn. This is a variegated I love this yarn, and this is knitted, the basic simple knit stitch all the way around. See what I mean about here's my ribbing, the knit 2, purl 2, and then here is you can see a very consistent pattern with where the colors fall, and then it repeats itself right up here. So kind of, this is actually a little bit of a different one, but this yarn, interesting enough, was mostly purple, and then on one end of the hank, I'll show you on this, it'd be as if this whole thing was purple, but obviously this one's magenta, and then right here at this top was a little bit of teal. And that's what this looked like after knitting it. It started right here with the aqua, and it just kind of traveled around. You see this in a spiral. This is what happened naturally with the yarn as I knitted. Now, again, it started to get wonky right here when you start the decrease. Do you see that? At the top, the pattern changed. And now I'm going to put a big pom-pom up here, and you won't even be able to tell. This one I made a little bit bigger because it was going to be my hat, because this is made out of superwash merino, whereas these are, I love this yarn, acrylics. But anyway, like I'm saying, is I feel like yarn, these variegated colors, as I've been knitting my hats year after year, the pattern, the striping is very prominent when you knit a hat, and when you crochet it, it's not. So I don't know if it's a problem. I guess part of the reason I'm making this video is kind of, I feel like myself that I'm a crocheter that knits a little bit, but I feel like I haven't been very true to my crocheter self when I knitted all the hats this year, and I started already knitting hats. But I just feel as a crocheter that the variegated yarns are not made to show their beauty if you crochet them. It only shows this beautiful striping and these consistent patterns if you knit the yarn. Now, you can hear my family in the background. Is this cute? Yeah, it's cute in its own right. It really is. A cute pom-pom, maybe crochet a little flower here in pink. And it is cute, but I guess I feel bad for crocheters because I feel like we don't get the same look out of this yarn. I don't know. Maybe tell me how you feel about it in the comments. If you're like, geez, Summer, you're worrying about something that doesn't matter. Or maybe you'd be like, yeah, you've noticed it. Or maybe, because I just live in my little bubble here in Wisconsin, maybe there are some variegated yarns that are made for crocheters that show the pattern a little bit more fully. You know, kind of like what I just showed you with that hat, how you could clearly see the pattern and the color and the striping, and it was all the way around. But yeah, so I just made this little bit of a example. The other thing I was going to tell you about these 2 hats, 2 things, is this I knitted probably 30 to 40 minutes every night for about a week. yeah, at the end of the day, I come home, I eat dinner, and then I would sit and knit for a little while. This I made yesterday in 45 minutes. The whole hat I made in 45 minutes. So it is a lot quicker to crochet. The other thing that I was gonna say is when I'm feeling the hat, this feels like a thicker fabric, if you will. The stitches are thicker, it feels thicker, and this feels thinner. It's obviously the same yarn, but this does have a more thick feel to it. Also, as you can see, this has more stretch to it and will go, you know, on your head a little bit more. Oh, just, I mean, look how cute it is. But this one here is stiffer and it really holds its shape and it has less of a stretch to it. You really have to give it. So, does any of that make sense to any of you all? I guess what I've concluded is that I'm probably going to continue knitting the hats. There are some really gorgeous hat patterns that I've come across. One of them was a Sarah Jane or in a Crochet Society that I really loved. There's another one that I found on Bag O' Day's website. My favorite winter hat, and whenever I wear it, I get tons of compliments. I just don't wear it as frequently because it's made out of alpaca and it really itches my forehead, but it's a really cute bobble stitch pattern. So obviously you can find a very different pattern for a crochet that does a lot, you know, and I'm sure you can find different patterns for knit. I was just comparing the basic, the most basic, the knit stitch and a half double crochet. Nothing fancy, no cables, no crisscrossing, no fancy bobble stitches, no popcorn stitches, just the basics. And that was a great time. Okay, so that's really all this video is. I just wanted to talk about the differences that I felt like in the hats, knitting versus crocheting. And I wanted to talk about the difference in the yarn, the variegated yarns, and how it really changes. And how I wish they had some more beautiful variegated yarns that showed their patterns in crochet. Like it would say, if you crochet this with a half double crochet, you'll see the striping. Now, I obviously know there is planned pooling. There's that thing, and some people are very good at measuring and counting and keeping their tension. And then you really can see like this, like diagonal, triangle or argyle pattern in your stuff. Okay, so this video, I'm gonna try to make one or two more. Today, this is actually for me, May 30th. Tomorrow is my last day of in-service at school where we're cleaning out our classroom, we're going to the end of the year meetings, having a luncheon, all that jazz. And then I have a couple days off, my son's birthday, both of them have other parties to go to, and then we're gonna be preparing for our Alaska trip. I will make video clips in Alaska. I'm not sure about the Wi-Fi situation up there and if I'll actually be able to upload while I'm up there. If I am, I will try. If I'm not, otherwise, I'll just make you guys a little bit of a video of some of the things that we saw and did in Alaska. I'm thrilled to be going, and so I definitely want to share that trip with you guys. I don't think I'm going anywhere near where Seta lives. I think, doesn't she live like in Fairbanks or Anchorage? And I will be in a different town altogether. Okay, you guys, that's it for this video. Thanks for watching and subscribing. Thanks for liking and sharing my videos. And until the next video, happy crafting. Bye.